CEWS on restaurant tips. Now, I'd be clear that there's no public, whatever I speak are mostly from publication of CRA, but this is not, there's no publication guiding on restaurant tips and CEWS claim on restaurant tips. These are only views from different tax lawyers who are working with Restaurant Canada and who are very much involved in safeguarding restaurants or putting them before CRA. So let me give you a bit of background. There are two types of tips that a restaurant or their employees earn. One is control tips and second is direct tip. So if your employer controls or possesses the tips and then they pay to the employee, that becomes a control tip. For example, a lot of restaurants have this tips pool. Kind of, for example, if you pay $10 tip to a server, they will go and put it in the tip box, and then it gets shared between the cook at the back, and it gets shared equally. It's not like you paid $10 or $50 to a particular server and they keep it in their pocket. No, it gets shared on a reasonable basis. That's controlled by the employer. So in that, this is considered as controlled tips. What's the impact? Control tips are part of employees' remuneration, and they have to be paid to the employee after making relevant tax deductions. Okay. Now let's see what's a direct tip. Direct tip is paid directly by customer to the employee. So if I go and pay $10 to an employee at a restaurant, thanking them for their services, and they keep it to themselves, they don't have to report this to their employer, then it's a direct tip. And direct tip are not remuneration for an employee. It's a cash reward without any taxes, we can say. And no tax reduction, CBPEI, nothing on that. And yeah, that's a direct tip. Now, thing is, control tips are also remuneration, right? And recently we have seen a big spike in control tips, or in big spike in tips. People want to help the restaurants and they are paying more and more tips. So what's happening because of that? There is a potential that because control tips are considered as remuneration, they can be added to your qualifying remuneration, and yeah, more wage subsidy on that. Okay. And if if you are a restaurant or you have a client who is a restaurant, do consider your tips method, whether you are having control tips or direct tips. And if it's a direct tip, CRA has some steps to easily change it to control tips. It's very easy, and maybe it could be a temporary thing. And yeah, control tips are going to be very beneficial for the companies, at least at this point of time. And of course, again, if they have more money, they will be distributing it to the employees.